Okay, let's get right into it. Let's talk about the Pergear 25mm f1.8 for Fujifilm. This is my photography review of this lens. A filmmaking or video review of this lens will come later. So if you watched this channel recently, you saw that I purchased the Pergear 25mm and 50mm. This video is the review of the 25mm. This lens goes for about $60 on eBay or about $70 on Amazon. I'll have links to both in the description below. The Amazon link will be an affiliate link. Like I said, this is a stills only review. I'll do a video review later. As far as image samples, I will have image samples if I haven't had it up on the video already throughout this video. And I'll put links to the time code, the timestamp of the photo samples in the description below. But I'm also going to post a blog post about this lens that coincides with this review, a short blog post, just so I can post the pictures, sample pictures. So if you want to take time to look at the sample photos, look in the description below for that blog post link. And if it's not there yet, keep an eye on it. I'll add it later if by some chance this video is done before that blog is done. But the photo samples will be up on that blog so you can take your time looking at them, because in this video they're going to go by quick. Okay, so let's get to the pros and cons. Some of these I said already when I unboxed it because some are obvious and can be seen right away when you open it. But one of the things is the build quality. If someone were to say that you could get a $60 lens or $70 lens that's made this way, I'd be surprised if I didn't know this existed. It's pretty much all metal, and because of that, it has a good weight to it. All that doesn't equate to good image quality, but it does give you confidence that you're using something of good quality. And this has a cool, cool design. I mean, not an amazing design, but a cool design, and definitely a really good build quality, a really good feel. And the weight is nice. It helps balance out the camera really well. I had thought about pulling up a Lightroom gallery and doing some pixel peeping and showing you different parts of the photo samples. But doing that pixel peeping, zooming in type thing to review the lenses is tough, man, because, for example, if you're looking at it on a high resolution screen, you don't have to zoom in very far to start seeing pixels on almost any sort of image. So I really think seeing it in print or seeing it in the arena that it's going to be viewed in the situation that these photos that you're producing are going to be viewed in is really the best way to judge any camera or lens system. So that being said, the photo samples I'm showing you is just going to give you a feel of what I was able to do with the lens, what kind of shots I was able to compose, and what I felt comfortable doing with this lens. Some shots I did were to purposely test the lens out to see how close I could get to a subject, to see what that 1.8 looked like on this lens, to see what the shallow depth of field looked like. But I just wanted to gather a variety of images, and most of the images from this lens are shot during the day, so the light isn't always the perfect light, but still through the sample images you can get an idea of sharpness and quality. So overall, it's a very solid performer in terms of image quality. Specifically, I was surprised that there's very little fringing or chromatic aberration. That's definitely not an issue with this lens. I was very surprised. It has very, very little of that. The color and sharpness aren't amazing. They don't jump off the screen. I haven't printed anything yet, but they're really solid. Like I said, it's an all-around solid performer when it comes to image quality. The other pros about this lens is the compact size. Actually, let's get to the size in a minute. The last pro I had was the included lens hood, which here I'll show you. I'll pull the lens hood off the 50 because they're the same. I have the other ones somewhere else. So this is the included lens hood with both the 50 and the 25. It's really well built, and it has a cool design and cool look to it. That's another benefit of purchasing this lens. Not a benefit to the actual quality of the lens itself, but it's a good benefit to purchasing it. The size was a huge deal to me. I was hoping to find something this small for my Fuji system eventually. Compare it to the compact primes. This is a 35mm. The 35mm, granted, is slightly taller than the 16, but this is clearly smaller than those. And when you're trying to put together the most compact camera lens combo possible, it's nice to have a choice for a really tiny lens. I don't have a pancake lens yet for my Fuji system. They do have a really small 18 and a really small 27 that I'll probably get the 27 eventually. But for now, this is a really good stopgap, something I can use in the meantime. And because of the image quality, I could keep it for a long time and feel totally fine using it. But when I mount this on my XT1, I have a really compact setup. And it would be even more compact if you have an XT10, XT20, or XT30, or one of the XE cameras, XT1, XT2, XT3, and so on. But yeah, that makes the profile of this camera very small. Oftentimes, the length of the lens is what makes it difficult to. This is an adapted lens, but still, the length of the lens is what makes it difficult to pack in a compact bag scenario. That's why the X100 series, part of the reason why the X100 series is so enticing for me is because that small profile. It's easy to slip it into a pocket or into the side of a bag. So the size was a huge deal. So having something that small size with still good quality was pretty awesome. Okay, let's get you a few negatives, not a ton, and then I'll give my general overview of the lens after a few weeks of using it. The focusing ring and aperture grips are fairly small, so there's a little bit of searching with their hand to get them into the right spot. But just like with anything, after using it for a bit, you get a little bit of muscle memory and it becomes less of an issue. But they are a little small. But that's part of getting a compact lens. So you can't have everything. But it's just something that you'll notice if you're used to focusing and aperture rings that have slightly larger grips. One positive they did do to the focusing ring, what makes up for the small size, is that it has ridges on there. So you can put your thumb and finger on there and have places to hold and grip. Another con in terms of the two rings is that the directions are reversed when you compare it to the X series lenses. It's not a huge deal, but it is nice to have things consistent. So you're building muscle memory on where things are and the direction things turn, all that. So I kind of wish they would have reversed that. So the aperture direction would be the same way as when this is on the lens, wide open is turning all the way this way, and wide open on here is turning it the other direction. So it's kind of like a Canon versus Nikon thing on the direction of that stuff. Like I said, it doesn't do anything to quality of your images and whatnot, but it does slow you down a little bit, and I kind of wish they would reverse it. And I have to imagine, since they make this lens for other mounts, they'd have to reverse it for all the different versions. But the Fuji users are the ones that are used to using aperture adjustment on the lens anyway, so I think designing it for the Fuji system wouldn't be a bad idea. It's something to think about. The clickless aperture is a con for this review, because this is a review for photography. And when I'm shooting street photography or anything like that, I prefer having clicks on my aperture, especially since you don't have the aperture reading setting in the viewfinder, because these don't have contacts on. There's nothing talking to the camera, so this is completely mechanical, and there's no aperture information. So not knowing exactly where you're at, especially if you're in the middle of the aperture range, it would be nice to meter and have those clicks so you can at least tell how many stops you're moving up or down. You just kind of have to guess or pull it away from your eye and check what the aperture setting is. So I would love for this to have clicks, especially this specific lens. The other Pergear lenses, the other cheap lenses, I could see justifying the clickless a little more because those are a little more conducive to video. But this lens just screams street photography to me, since it's so compact and whatnot. it would be nice for this lens to have clicks on it. But when I do make my review for video or filmmaking in regards to this lens, the clickless aperture might be in the pros column. So again, it's just going to be depending on what your main use for the lens is. But really, for the price, there's not much to complain about with this lens. To sound like a broken record, I mean, any of these purchases, it comes down to what you're getting for the price. And you're getting a quality, well-built lens for under $100, brand new. And really, it's amazing that we even have those choices nowadays. I love to adapt old school lenses to my Fuji system. For example, this is a Pentax 50mm 1.4. You've seen countless videos on YouTube about this already, I'm sure. For good reason, because it's an amazing lens. But with that adapter on there, that's a decent decent sized lens that you're putting on there. So it's nice to have X mount lenses being made that are that affordable and have decent quality. Who's this for? I think this is perfect for the street photography shooter, the street shooter. It's perfect for someone just getting into photography. You can mimic this setup I have here, the XT1 and the Pergear lens, and get a setup. You could get this for under $400 easy, this package right here, which is pretty amazing, and have very little compromises when it comes to photography. Again, like I said, this lens, just like with anything else, where you start to be able to point out its flaws is when you start comparing it to other things. But if you've never owned a prime before and you need a prime to try out, you need a compact lens or whatnot, this is a great lens to try. I mean, you really, it's hard to go wrong at that price. So along with the photo samples in this video, like I said, I'll put photo samples on a blog post so you can take your time looking at those, analyze them a little bit, and then ask me more questions if you need to. Continue to post samples and post videos about this gear, especially the Pergear lenses. There's a few other budget lenses I want to try out. I've seen a lot of great videos about the 7 Artisans. I want to dabble into those, so this is just the beginning of some budget lens reviews. So really that's it. This really is a great lens for the money. At $70, I don't know what it could have done to disappoint me, because at $70, to be honest, you have pretty low expectations. But I could have paid $200 for this lens and probably been happy with the results. So I'm very happy that I have it in my kit. I have a 25mm 1.8 option. That's pretty cool. So if you're looking for a first prime lens, you're looking to add to your X series lens collection, your native X mount lenses, you can't go wrong with this 25mm. If you're going to buy this lens, consider the affiliate link below. Either way, let me know if you have it or if you're going to try it, and let me know what you think of it. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.